I know it's been quite some time since we've talked about Outriders, but guess what? We have very good reason to be talking about this game today because we got a brand new update straight from the dev team that yes, we will be getting a brand new patch and they will be rebalancing your favorite character class. A lot of buffs to talk about in this video. Things are changing and for the better. But yeah, we're going to dive into this post right here, right now. So let's do this. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here. Hope you're doing good. And once again, we are talking about Outriders revisiting the world of Enoch. So let's dive into this post, starting out with the patch news, shall we? So it says, our latest patch is mostly complete, except for one outstanding issue. The crashes that appeared for some users attempting to launch Outriders since the previous patch are still being investigated. This is an issue we are very keen to resolve before patching the game again, as we do not want to subject players to such a crash any longer than absolutely necessary. That makes sense. And they further on, down this post go on to say that they have a few leads as to what's causing this crash. They're looking into it. And then they also would like for you guys to help out, give your feedback, and as I say, further beta test this game. To each their own. If you want to help out, I'll throw the links in the description below on how you can actually do that. But anyway, they did say that they would very much like to release the patch as soon as possible, ideally next week, but its release will depend on them identifying the bug and problem and squashing the crash issues related to this next patch before they even release it. So hopefully it does land next week because there's a lot of cool stuff happening with that patch. But let's go ahead and talk about the upcoming buffs and changes to your favorite character class. Let's dive into this one right now because I know you guys are wondering what's happening, Robbie, with my Pyromancer or my Trickster. Let's do this. So it says upcoming buffs. Pyromancer, so it says feed the flames. The ammo replenished by the bullet absorption mod has been increased to 40%. Previously it was 33%. Now volcanic rounds has changed as well. The resistance debuff mod has been increased to 50%. Previously that was 34%. And the reload boost and lava shots mod have had their perks swapped. The reload boost will now increase anomaly power, previously firepower. These are extremely noteworthy, so make sure you pay attention to what's going on with your characters. It says lava shots will now increase firepower. Previously it was anomaly power. So some of you may have to change up your loadout and character class. I'm curious to see what you guys think of this change. Now it says Ash Blast has had its base skill cooldown reduced by 5 seconds from 27.5 to 23.5 seconds. Now the buff duration of the death sentence mod has been increased by 3 seconds from 5 to 8 seconds. Nice. So a lot of good buffs going on there, of course, with the Pyromancer. Let me know if you guys are rocking the Pyromancer. Of course, you guys know I'm a Trickster type guy. But anyway, let's talk about the Trickster. Let's see what's going on with him. So it says borrowed time. Reduce the cooldown of borrowed time, by 3.5 seconds from 13.5 seconds to 10 seconds. Nice. Now slow trap, it says the cooldown of slow trap has been reduced by 10.7 seconds from 30.7 seconds to 20 seconds. I don't know why they have to do everything with a 0.7. Why can't they just round it up to like 31 seconds or something like that? But anyway, that's definitely a buff. That's very cool because I always thought this was way too slow for the cooldown, was way too slow. And that's one of the reasons why I never use slow trap. Now it says time rift. The cooldown of time rift has been reduced by 3.4 seconds from 15.4 seconds to 12 seconds, but also increased the dot damage of the A Little Bit of Pain mod by 71% from 0.35 AP to 0.6. That's a big one right there. Condensed the dot damage, dot duration of A Little Bit of Pain mod to 6 seconds. Previously it was 10. Increased the armor resistance debuff provided by the time crack mod to 35%. That was previously 25%. So yeah, you got a 10% buff there. Increase the weapon cleave damage provided by the pain transfer mod to 20% weapon damage. Previously it was 10% weapon damage. So a lot of nice buffs going on there. with the Trickster. Really good reason to try out the slow trap as well, since that has been what I would consider buff, especially in terms of the cooldown. But anyway, let's go into the Technomancer. So they have Pain Launcher here. Reduce the base cooldown of Pain Launcher by 10 seconds from 40 seconds to 30 seconds. Edit, this was mistakenly listed as reduced to 17 due to an error on my part. Apologies for the confusion. The actual reduction is by 10 seconds to 30 seconds cooldown. What about Shrapnel? Reduce the base cooldown of Shrapnel by 5 seconds from 22 seconds to 17 seconds. So a lot of reduction in terms of cooldown. They want you to be using your abilities a lot more, supporting, guess what? Anomaly builds. Now it says Freeze Turret. The Hellshot mod has had its SPF set to 1.5. Previously it was 1. SPF controls how much this mod benefits from status power attribute. This change effectively means that the damage increase provided by Hellshot will increase by 50%, though the effectiveness of this improvement still depends on the character's status power attribute. So status power is going to be super important when it comes to that buff. How many of you guys are actually playing the Devastator right now? Let me know, because guess what? The Devastator has also seen some important changes and buffs. For the Boulder Dash, they go on to say this: using the skill will now provide significant 65% damage reduction during its animation. Wow. Now players can now press trigger again to use an AoE attack during the run animation. So Boulder Dash has gotten a big buff. Endless Mass says this: enemies affected by Endless Mass can now be damaged and killed during the animation. Change the Wide Horizons mod so that on top of the range increase, the mod will allow Endless Mass to ignore the enemy skill Absorbing Skin used by Alpha Porophros and Brood Mothers. Nice. What about Reflect Bullets? It says ending the skill early will now refund a part of the cooldown up to 90%. Wow, so some really good buffs and a reason to revisit the Devastator for sure. But guess what? There's also universal buffs across the board. Doesn't matter what class you're with. Check this out right here. We have armor mod buffs. Personal Space will have its damage bonus increase from 15% to 25%. Crit Stack will have its anomaly power boost increased by 21% from base 5.79 to 7. Stand Tall will have its base firepower bonus increased by 20% and its base anomaly power by 16% from base level 10 firepower and 15 anomaly power to 12 firepower and 17.5 anomaly power respectively. Now it says Perseverance Shield will have its base shield valued increased by 40% from base 25 to 35. Note, this patch will also fix a bug whereby Perseverance Shield could trigger and grant shield after death. Now Blazing Aegis, hopefully I pronounced that right, will have the armor increase, its grant increase by 21%, base 46.35 to 56. Plate Dodger will have its armor value grant increase by 12% from base 58 to 65, and its duration increase from 5 seconds to 7 seconds. So what I'm seeing here with the universal changes, is that they really want the survivability with this game to actually go up. It seems like they're trying to cater, at least from what I am seeing, cater towards those of you that are playing this game solo, perhaps trying to, complete the challenge tier 15, that solo, that this could actually be possible. Now we have weapon mods as well. It says Anomaly Enhancement will have its coefficient increase from 30% anomaly power to 40%. Then we have Bone Shrapnel will have its damage increased by 5% from base 56.7 to 59.85. Nice. So some really cool increases there for the weapon mods as well. Now let's go back to talking about this patch and what else you can actually look forward to that's going to be changing up here. So let's dive into that right now. So it goes on to say the following. Here's what you look forward to as part of the upcoming patch. In the spirit of continued transparency, as this patch is nearing completion, we wanted to share some initial patch highlights with you. Note that these things are not live today and may still be subject to change ahead of the patch release. This list is not exhaustive, but it's a selection of the things we know you'll be most excited about. So they go on to say this about upcoming fixes and changes. will improve the multiplayer experience so that rubber banding and packet loss should now be reduced for players under 350 millisecond pings. That's great news. Hopefully it actually works. We'll have to see. Now it says, we'll fix the Technomancer's Borealis Monarch set and correctly grant the 90% damage increase to any frozen targets. We'll resolve, an issue with the Devastator's statue set and change its description to match its behavior. The new description is follows. While either Trimmer or Golem is active, increase firepower by 100% and weapon skill leech by 100% for you and your teammates. The old description was using either Trimmer or Golem increases firepower by 100% and weapon skill leech by 100% for you and your teammates. Now the old functionality meant that the statue set bonus could end after 8 seconds. Reworking this set means that the bonus can now be maintained for longer. Now they will be fixing an issue that can cause the tricksters, hunt the prey to not turn the player towards an enemy's back if aiming down sights immediately after activation. So they're fine-tuning that hunt the prey. Will improve the targeting of the Trickster's Venator's Knife so that it should now be more consistently target a player's intended enemy. We saw a bunch of memes on Reddit about that one. We'll implement a change to the anti-duplication system so that your equipped items will not be taken into account when checking whether to re-roll a dropped duplicate. So they are actually going through with that. And they said, we'll fix an issue whereby players who are level 50 may appear as level 1 while in a party. Okay, so that's another fix they are going to be adding to this new patch. So I think, let's take a look here. I think that's it for the patch notes. Of course, they do have an ongoing list of currently tracked issues, things that will be most likely thrown into other patches beyond this new patch that's coming up here, but this is redundant. I've already gone over this stuff a billion times in videos. However, if you missed out on it, I will throw the links in the description below. Now, the community manager did go on to answer some questions, so let's see what he has to say here. We have Kaiosumi who says, can you guys also add a skip button to the intro movie? This intro also crashed my game every time I launch it. And the community manager of Outriders says, we're aware that players would like to skip the intro movie and something we'll look into if possible. For the time being, switching to DirectX 11 may help you get around the crash. It's not caused by the video itself, but by a back-end process. So DirectX 11 seems to be the go-to answer for a lot of crash issues that players might be facing with this game. So give it a shot if you're dealing with crashes. Now, Engineer 7 says this, those are some spicy buffs. Looking forward to them. I apologize if you've addressed this recently, but are there any plans to be able to lock gear? It's very hard to manage multiple builds and the sheer number of drops without being able to lock gear. Now, the community manager went on to say, locking gear is on that rather long list of things we know you guys really want, and we want to do them too, but we're not yet in a place to talk about what will be possible in regards to those quality of life improvements, but we hopefully will be in that place in the not too distant future. .text. So yeah, it sounds like they're looking into it. It doesn't seem like that change will be making it into the immediate patch that's coming up here next week, but hopefully down the road. Seems like one of those things that is highly, highly sought after and requested by the community. So honestly, I really, really do hope they get more serious about getting that into the game. All right, so let's go ahead and go over your top comments for my most recent Outriders video. Let me tell you what, it's been some time. It's been a minute since I've done an Outriders video. So let's dive into this right now. So my last one was big update confirmed. Here's what is changing, new updates to enemies, classes, and more. Let's see what you guys had to say. Annie Paris says this, the answer for the duplicate gear drops is simple. Make Tiago rotate his gear inventory. It's such a good solution. Couldn't agree more with you, Andy. JFreak13 says the stash size needs to be increased. You know what? That's an understatement. It needs to be increased big time. Let me tell you what. Says you can run, but you can't hide. Says we still need an offline game feature. That should be, you know what? That should be implemented into games like this no matter what, to give a single player feature, because this game is actually really fun. If you're just playing it solo, it's actually doable, except for when you hit super, super high challenge tiers, that's when it gets more difficult. And the more recent changes regarding the legendary drops has actually made it a lot of fun solo play. Now, Genius One says, that's all lies. I still keep getting this duplicate items, especially legendaries. Here and there, I get something different, but just about every run, I still keep getting duplicates over and over again. Don't know if I'm the only one. So it seems to be a problem. Jerry says, I agree with this. What you have equipped should not be included in the do not duplicate list. Donnie Metzger says they will eventually soon need to add targeted loot to the game. The legendary loot pool is simply too big right now. This will help get the items you want and or min-max the ones you have. So my assessment with the targeted loot stuff, I honestly think their priority right now will be the whatever expansion they're going to be working on for this game and perhaps having targeted loot in that. And then maybe with that update, they would change the targeted loot for the actual vanilla base game. That's probably what they maybe will do. I don't know. That's just me speculating, but I think they're probably hyper focused now that they're getting the game into a more solid, secure place, but they're probably more hyper focused on getting you guys a brand new content release at this point. But yeah, there it is, the latest happenings around Outriders. Thank you all so much for watching, for all the comments. Stay tuned for more news about Outriders. I got you covered when it comes to Cyberpunk, and I hope to introduce another game here into the rotation as well. Let me know what you guys would like to see, but thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.